First thing to say when we're talking about sanctions is that it's important to understand the context and the background for them and the sort of political drivers that sit behind them. On the slide here with my Venn diagram, of course, what we're talking about is sanctions sitting really at the heart of that structure. They start with the politics. Whether we're talking about sanctions against Russia currently, or Iran historically, North Korea, other jurisdictions, they're all driven by political events, whether that's a contested presidential election, and of course everyone's looking very carefully at the moment at what's happening in Niger, or whether it's through a weapons program, as it was in the case of Iran, or of course the circumstances in Ukraine. And therefore what we see is a political event which triggers the imposition of sanctions by other countries as a response to what has happened. And really, they're intended to change behavior. So through the use of sanctions as a tool, politicians will seek to drive political change. So I've got a couple of case studies to work through here. So if we put ourselves in the position of the entity that I've marked as client, bottom left of this slide, assume the client is coming to me for advice. Client has said to me, I want to deal with the entity which is identified bottom center of the slide as counterparty. Can I go ahead and deal with them? So what I'm saying is it's not enough for me just to check the counterparty against the various applicable lists and then give the client advice that, yes, it's okay to proceed. I need to understand who sits at various levels above them. So I do my diligence, I identify the counterparty is owned by a parent company. That parent company is then owned by two separate shareholders, and then I look behind those shareholders to identify the individuals who are the ultimate beneficial owner. So the first area of risk is counterparty risk. So what I'm talking about here from a marine perspective is the individuals and entities that we have direct or indirect dealings with. So for a ship owner, it might be charterers, but it will also be port operators, port agents, shippers of cargo, receivers of cargo, anyone that we're dealing with. Anyone really that we're providing any sort of economic benefits to. And what we've seen, looking at in the context of Russia, is that the list of sanctioned individuals and entities is very, very large and is changing over time.